मॉर्निंग स्टूडेंट्स हम डीजी क्लास कर रहे हैं। हमारा साउंड चैप्टर कंप्लीट हो गया था। उस साउंड चैप्टर को बेटा आप डीजी क्लास में कर रहे हैं। तो हम देखते हैं प्रोडक्शन ऑफ साउंड बेटा। सबसे पहले हम कौन सा देखेंगे इसमें, प्रोडक्शन ऑफ साउंड। सो ध्यान से देखिए इसको, प्रोडक्शन ऑफ साउंड। साउंड कैसे प्रोड्यूस होता है बच्चा, देखिए।
Do you know how sound is produced? Through observing some day-to-day examples and doing some activities of your own, you can find out what produces sound. Let's first consider the most common group of objects that produce sound. The strings of a guitar are pulled and released to produce a musical sound. Look closely at the strings of the guitar being played. Notice the string that is pulled and released. It vibrates and produces a musical sound. Here is another musical instrument, the drum. Does a drum also produce vibrations the way the guitar string does? No vibrations can be seen now. But what if you put some grains on the drum membrane? On hitting the drum, you saw the grains move up and down to the beat. Here's one more musical instrument. These are cymbals, which are sometimes used by musical bands. If you hit on the cymbal, you hear the sound and see the vibrations. You might have seen a bell in your school. On ringing the bell, you can hear a sound and see the vibrations of the sides of the bell. Let us take another example that you may find in your school, a gong. On hitting a gong, you can observe a long-lasting vibration and sound. Now, let's try some activities that you can do for yourself. In the first one, you need to use a pencil box. Stretch a rubber band all the way around your pencil box. Now, insert two pencils this way such that there is a gap between the pencil box and the band. Now, pull at the rubber band and hear the sound. You can also see a vibration. Another easy one you can try at home to see the vibrations when an object makes a sound. First, take a vessel from your kitchen at home and knock it with a spoon. You might not see vibrations. Next, fill up the vessel with water and then knock it with a spoon. You can hear a sound and you can see ripples in the water too. Since you haven't directly touched the water, the ripples prove that the vibrating vessel produces waves in the water. In the previous activity, did you notice that the sound produced by knocking a vessel without water is different from sound produced by a vessel that has water? You can also make interesting sounds by creating your own jal tarang. To make your own jal tarang, take 7 bowls of different sizes and collect water in them at different levels. Now tap each bowl with a spoon, first in one order, then randomly. Isn't this a beautiful sound? So, do look closely at objects that make a sound and do try out activities of your own to prove that sound is produced by vibrations of a body.
तो बेटा आपने देखा कि साउंड कैसे प्रोड्यूस होता है। वाइब्रेशन के थ्रू साउंड प्रोड्यूस होता है बेटा। ओके, किसी भी चीज में वाइब्रेशन होगी तो साउंड प्रोड्यूस होएगा। ओके, अब करते हैं प्रोडक्शन एंड प्रोपोगेशन ऑफ साउंड। प्रोपोगेशन एंड प्रोडक्शन ऑफ साउंड। देखिए बच्चा, साउंड कैसे प्रोड्यूस हो रहा है।
You know that a TV can be made to stop or start producing sound by increasing or decreasing the volume or by clicking the mute button. But how is sound produced in real life? How does a guitar produce such a melodious sound? It produces sound when the strings vibrate. Look at what happens here. How did the bell produce the sound, and what did the person do to stop it?
कैसे साउंड प्रोड्यूस हुआ और इस पर्सन ने साउंड को कैसे रोका, देखिए बेटा।
The bell was set into vibration when the hand rang it. The person stopped the bell by holding it and stopping its vibrations. Let's see what these sound vibrations look like. Sound waves are like ripples on water. But how do we produce the sound with which we speak, sing, and shout? Let us find out. In humans, sound is produced by a voice box called the larynx. The larynx has a pair of vocal cords that form a V-shaped opening. When a person speaks, the vocal cords come together and produce sound by vibrating. The muscles that are attached to the cords can make the cords tight or loose. The movement of the lips and tongue change this sound to create the individual speech sounds. So, how do these vibrations reach us? Let us find out. Sound travels from its source to our ears. Here, the sound of the ringing bell travels a considerable distance before reaching the hearer's ears. Let us see how. When the bell is struck, it vibrates and produces sound. The vibrating bell causes the surrounding air particles to vibrate. These vibrating particles cause the particles adjacent to them to vibrate and results in sound waves being transmitted. In other words, sound requires a medium whose particles can then carry the vibrations forward. This kind of propagation is not possible in a vacuum, which does not have any particles to carry the sound forward. Therefore, sound cannot transmit through vacuum. Most common medium is air. But air is not the only medium through which sound travels. Sound travels through liquids and solids as well. Let us see how sound travels through these media.
Okay, beta.
These two boys are talking with each other across closed doors. What can you conclude from this?
साउंड कैसे प्रोड्यूस हो रहा है बेटा? आपके गले में क्या है? वॉइस बॉक्स है। वॉइस बॉक्स में लेरिंग्स होता है। जब उसमें जो लेरिंग्स के थ्रू वाइब्रेशन प्रोड्यूस होती है और आपको साउंड सुनाई देता है। और जब आपको कैसे सुनाई देता है? आपके कानों में क्या है? वो एयर के थ्रू आपके कानों में आके वाइब्रेशन प्रोड्यूस होती है और आपको सुनाई देता है। लेट्स सी।
This shows that sound can travel through a wooden door. Or, for that matter, sound can travel through any solid medium. How do railroad engineers come to know that a train is approaching? They check this by listening to the tracks. If you strike this steel plate kept inside the water drum, you can hear the striking sound. This shows that sound travels through liquids also. Do you know that whales and dolphins communicate underwater? They make low-pitched noises through their blowholes that humans cannot hear. Sonar devices are used to transmit underwater sound waves to locate submerged objects. Here, an electric bell connected to a battery is placed inside a glass jar. The bell is ringing and the air from inside the jar is slowly removed. What do you think will happen to the sound of the bell?
जब बेल बजती है तो उसमें साउंड कैसे प्रोड्यूस होता है बेटा? और आपको पता होगा कि एयर के थ्रू भी वाइब्रेशन प्रोड्यूस होती है। साथ में किसके प्रोड्यूस होती है वाइब्रेशन? वाइब्रेशन वाटर में भी प्रोड्यूस होती है बेटा। ठीक है, अब बेल में कैसे साउंड प्रोड्यूस हो रहा है देखिए।
The bell's loudness decreases because sound waves cannot travel through a vacuum. When the air is pumped back into the jar, the sound of the bell can be heard again. Thus, sound travels through air. Does sound travel at the same speed in all the media? If not, then in which medium do you think sound travels faster? Sound travels faster in a denser medium because the particles are closer together, and so the energy travels faster. The speed of sound is greater in solids and liquids than in air. person presses his ears against the rail track to know whether the train is approaching. The sound produced by the moving wheel travels faster through the steel track than through air. In air, the particles are further apart, so it takes more time for the sound energy to travel from one particle to the next. Thus, the speed of sound depends on the temperature, density, and the type of medium.
ओके बेटा, प्रोपोगेशन ऑफ साउंड, साउंड किसके थ्रू प्रोपोगेट करता है? सॉलिड, लिक्विड, गैस और स्पीड ऑफ साउंड, इनके थ्रू प्रोपोगेट करता है। स्पीड ऑफ साउंड किस पे डिपेंड करता है? टेम्परेचर, डेंसिटी और मीडियम पे। ठीक है बेटा, सॉलिड में जल्दी ट्रेवल करता है, जबकि वाटर में कम करता है, एयर में और कम करेगा, लेकिन सॉलिड में बहुत जल्दी करता है। ओके बच्चा, तो इसी के साथ ही हमारा ये चैप्टर भी होता है। ओके बेटा, ओके बेटा, आज हम इसी के साथ अपनी डीजी क्लास भी करते हैं फिनिश। तो नेक्स्ट क्लास में हम नेक्स्ट करेंगे। आप अपने एग्जाम्स के लिए अच्छे से प्रिपेयर कीजिए। सो ऑल ऑफ यू प्रिपेयर फॉर योर एग्जाम्स, यू ऑल आर डूइंग वेल बेटा। सभी अपनी नोटबुक्स भी स्कूल में सबमिट करा के जाएंगे। ओके बच्चा, बाय ऑल ऑफ यू, बाय, टेक केयर बेटा।